Hi, everyone. This is Emily. I'm so glad you're here with me today. We all know that learning English can feel exciting, but also challenging. Have you ever learned a new word and then completely forgotten it the next day? Or maybe you recognize a word when reading, but can't recall it in conversation? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Most learners face the same struggles. That's why today we'll focus on building and keeping your vocabulary strong. Vocabulary is like the foundation of a house. It holds everything else together. Without words, grammar rules can't help you express what's really on your mind. With more words, you'll gain confidence, understand people better, and connect more deeply. And the best part? Expanding your vocabulary doesn't have to be boring at all. In this episode, I'll share practical tips and fun methods to make learning easier. Step by step, word by word, you'll see how simple habits can bring big results. So get comfortable, relax, and let's explore this journey of learning together. Let's begin with the big question. Why is vocabulary so important when learning English? Many learners think grammar should come first. They spend months memorizing rules and structures. But here's the truth. Without words, grammar can't do much. You need vocabulary to bring grammar alive. Think about it. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, people will understand you if you know the right words. Imagine someone says, I yesterday go market. The grammar is wrong, but the meaning is clear. Why? Because the key words are there. Yesterday, go, market. The message still gets across. That's the power of vocabulary. It lets you communicate even when your sentences aren't perfect. And the more words you know, the easier it is to understand others, especially in listening and reading. Picture this. You're watching a movie in English. If you only know half the words, the story feels confusing. But if you know most of the words, suddenly everything clicks. You enjoy it and learn at the same time. The same happens in conversation. If someone uses a word you don't know, you may feel lost or nervous. But when you recognize and understand that word, confidence grows. You stay in the conversation with ease. Confidence is one of the greatest gifts of vocabulary. It makes you feel ready to speak, listen, and connect. And vocabulary is not about learning rare, fancy words. It's about knowing the right words for daily life. Words like hungry, tired, or excited. Words that help you order food, ask for help, or share your feelings. These simple, everyday words are what make real communication possible. They matter more than big words. Here's another point. Vocabulary doesn't just improve language, it also improves thinking. Studies show that people with richer vocabularies can think more clearly and express themselves better. When you have more words, you can describe ideas, emotions, and experiences with greater precision. It's like having more colors on your palette when painting a picture. More words mean more shades of meaning. That's why focusing on vocabulary is not just about English, it's also about developing your mind. And remember this. Every fluent English speaker once started with 0 words. Nobody is born knowing them. Step by step, they built their vocabulary, word by word. And you can do exactly the same. So don't worry if your vocabulary feels small today. It's a starting point, not a limitation. The important thing is to keep learning new words, and more importantly, to keep using them. Each new word you learn is like adding a brick to the house of your English. The structure gets stronger. Over time, you'll find that words connect with each other, creating bigger patterns and clearer meaning. Vocabulary opens doors to culture too. When you learn new words, you also learn new ways of seeing the world. For example, English has many words to describe feelings: happy, joyful, cheerful, content. Each one carries a slightly different shade of meaning, helping you understand emotions more deeply. That's why building vocabulary isn't just about exams or tests. It's about experiencing language fully. So, as we move forward in this episode, keep this in mind. Vocabulary is your key to confidence and connection. It's not about perfection, it's about communication. With the right words, you can share your story. And with every new word, you grow closer to expressing yourself the way you truly want to. That's the beauty of learning vocabulary. It changes the way you speak, the way you think, and the way you live. So let's continue this journey together, step by step, and unlock the power of words in your English journey. Now let's talk about the struggles many learners face when building vocabulary. If you've ever said, "I forget words too fast," you're not alone. This happens to almost everyone. You learn a new word today, and tomorrow it disappears from your memory. It feels frustrating, right? That's because our brains need repetition and context to remember something for the long term. Just seeing a word once is not enough. The memory fades quickly if we don't revisit it again and again. Another challenge is the gap between passive and active vocabulary. Let's break this down. Passive vocabulary means words you recognize when reading or listening. Active vocabulary is different. Active vocabulary is what you can actually use when speaking or writing. That's the real goal. Many learners get stuck here. They know a word on paper, but can't recall it in conversation. It feels like the word is hiding somewhere in the brain, but refuses to come out when needed. And that can feel discouraging. But remember, this is a normal part of the learning process. Turning passive words into active words takes practice. Lots of practice. It won't happen overnight. Another common struggle is focusing too much on difficult or rare words. It feels fancy to know them. But in reality, simple and common words are far more useful. They help you in daily conversations. Think about it. Words like hungry, confused, or tired will serve you every single day. Meanwhile, unusual words may look impressive, but you might never use them in real life situations. So don't fall into the trap of chasing big words just to sound smart. Focus on words you need first. Another big obstacle is fear. Many learners feel shy or afraid of making mistakes with new words. They worry about pronouncing the word wrong or using it in the wrong context, so they stay silent. But silence slows your progress. If you never use the word, your brain will let it fade away. Mistakes, on the other hand, are powerful teachers. Each mistake helps you learn faster. When you use a word incorrectly, someone may correct you. That correction locks the word in memory. It's better to try, fail, and learn than to avoid using words altogether. That's how growth happens. So if you've ever felt shy or embarrassed, remember this. Mistakes mean progress, not failure. Every fluent speaker you know has made thousands of mistakes before reaching fluency. Thousands. Another issue is overload. Learners sometimes try to memorize too many words at once. They think, if I learn 50 new words today, I'll improve quickly. But that rarely works. Your brain can only hold a few new words at a time. Quality matters more than quantity. It's much better to learn 5 words deeply and use them than to memorize 50 and forget them tomorrow. So slow down. Focus on small, consistent progress instead of rushing to learn everything at once. Another struggle is lack of connection. If a word has no link to your life, it won't stay with you. For example, learning the word harvest might not matter if you live in the city and never farm. But learning the word deadline might be useful if you work in an office. Context makes it stick. That's why personal relevance is so important. The closer the word is to your world, the stronger it stays. Let's recap. The main struggles are forgetting too quickly, passive-active gap, chasing rare words, fear of mistakes, overload, and lack of context. And here's the good news. Every single one of these struggles can be solved with the right methods. The fact that you recognize these challenges already means you're on the right path, because once you know the problems, you can find solutions. And we'll cover those step by step. So don't feel discouraged. Vocabulary learning is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Every learner faces these struggles. What makes the difference is how you respond to them. If you keep practicing, stay patient, and welcome mistakes, your vocabulary will grow steadily. And before long, you'll notice that words you once forgot now come to you naturally in conversation. That's when you'll realize all these struggles were just stepping stones on your journey. So take a deep breath, accept the challenges, and let's move on to the solutions that will help you grow. Now let's explore our first practical method to grow vocabulary: learning through reading. Reading is one of the most powerful tools you can use. It opens doors to words and ideas naturally. When you read, you don't just see a word. You see it in context, alive in sentences, and real situations. That context helps you understand meaning, tone, and usage better than memorizing a dictionary list. And the best part is, you don't have to read complex novels to start building vocabulary. Simple books, short stories, graded readers, blogs, or even social media posts can be excellent choices. Some learners love children's books because the language is simple and packed with useful everyday words. Others enjoy reading articles about travel, food, or science. What matters most is reading what you like. Because when you enjoy what you read, your brain relaxes and absorbs words more easily. It doesn't feel like study, it feels like fun. And fun is the secret to staying consistent. Consistency beats intensity every time. 10 minutes of reading daily is better than 2 hours once a week. Those small daily moments build up, creating a steady flow of new vocabulary into your mind. Here's a tip: keep a small notebook or use your phone to jot down new words while reading. Don't try to record everything. Just choose 3 to 5 words that really interest you. Write them down with a short meaning and one personal example sentence. That makes them yours. For example, if you learn the word grateful, write, "I feel grateful for my friend's support today." By connecting the word to your life, you make the memory stronger and more personal. Another tip is to highlight or underline words in the text. Visual cues help your brain notice patterns. Later, you can come back, look them up, and review with your own sentences. Reading out loud is another great way to reinforce vocabulary. It trains your eyes, brain, and mouth together. When you read aloud, you also practice pronunciation and rhythm, not just meaning. It turns passive reading into active speaking practice, doubling the benefit of your effort. Imagine reading a short story aloud each day. In a month, you'll notice clearer speech and stronger recall. Another trick is to reread the same story. The second time, the words feel more familiar and less scary. Repetition within context strengthens memory naturally, without boring drills. You can also experiment with different reading levels. Start simple, then challenge yourself gradually. Maybe begin with a short blog, post, then move to magazine articles, then to novels. Step by step, your vocabulary grows, and so does your confidence with longer texts. And don't forget to choose topics you truly enjoy. If you love fashion, read fashion blogs. If you love technology, read tech news. Passion keeps you motivated and makes words stick. One more useful idea: after reading, talk about it. Summarize the story using your own words. You could share it with a friend, record yourself, or even post a short comment online. That small act of retelling forces you to use new vocabulary actively, not just passively. So, reading is not just about input, it's also a launchpad for speaking and writing. And the results are powerful. Learners who read regularly develop vocabulary faster and remember longer. Their sentences become richer, their ideas clearer, and their confidence stronger. Think of reading as a daily workout for your brain. Each page is like lifting a weight for your language muscles. At first, it feels heavy, but with time, you get stronger. Soon you'll look back and see real progress. So the challenge is simple: start reading today. Pick something short, enjoyable, and not too difficult. Spend just 10 or 15 minutes with it. Note down 3 words. That's enough. Tomorrow, do the same. 3 more words. Small steps, steady growth. Over weeks and months, you'll see your vocabulary bank expanding in ways that surprise you. Remember, you don't need to rush. Language is a marathon, not a sprint, and reading is the path that keeps you moving forward, one word at a time. So grab that story, article, or post and let reading become your partner in learning. Your vocabulary will thank you. Your confidence will grow, and your English will shine brighter each day. Let's move on to another powerful method for building vocabulary: spaced repetition. It may sound technical, but the idea is very simple and incredibly effective. Spaced repetition means reviewing new words at increasing intervals over time. Instead of cramming once and forgetting, you revisit words again and again in a smart rhythm. For example, you learn a word today, review it tomorrow, then again 3 days later, then a week later. Each time the gap gets longer, and your brain strengthens the memory more deeply. This method works because our brains are designed to forget quickly if we don't repeat. But if we remind ourselves at the right moment, the memory becomes stronger and lasts longer. Think of it like watering a plant. If you water it once and never again, it dies. But if you water it regularly with the right spacing, it grows healthy and strong. And the good news is, you don't need hours of study each day. Just 5 to 10 minutes is enough. You can review flashcards on the bus, during a coffee break, or before bed. Technology makes this even easier. There are apps like Anki, Quizlet, or Memrise. These apps automatically schedule reviews based on how well you know each word. If a word feels easy, the app shows it less often. If a word is difficult, it shows it more often. It's like having a personal memory coach in your pocket. Smart, simple, and effective. But you don't need apps to practice spaced repetition. You can do it with paper flashcards too. Here's how. Write the word on one side, the meaning and example sentence on the other. Review them daily, then separate them into piles: easy, medium, and hard. Easy words move to a longer review gap. Hard words stay in daily review until they stick. This simple system keeps your practice focused on the words you need most. Another tip is to say the words out loud when you review. Don't just read silently. Speak the word, use it in a sentence, and imagine a picture in your mind. The more senses you use, seeing, hearing, speaking, the stronger your memory becomes. And don't be afraid of forgetting. Forgetting is part of the process. When you forget a word, reviewing it again actually makes the memory even stronger. So instead of feeling frustrated, think of each review as a chance to reinforce the word. The secret is not perfection. The secret is consistency. A few words reviewed daily with spaced repetition can turn into hundreds over time. It's like compound interest in a bank account. Small deposits grow into big results. Here's an example. If you learn and review just 5 words a day, that's 35 in a week. In a month, that's around 150. In a year, nearly 2,000 words. That's a powerful vocabulary boost, and it comes from small daily practice. One thing to remember: review sessions should be short and focused. Don't overwhelm yourself with too many cards at once. Quality over quantity always wins. Also, personalize your flashcards. Don't just write dictionary sentences. Create examples that connect to your life, your work, your hobbies. If you learn the word deadline, write, "My deadline for this project is next Friday." That personal link makes the memory stronger and more meaningful. Another strategy is to mix old and new words together during review. This way, you keep reinforcing what you already know while adding fresh material. And finally, make it a routine. Set a fixed time each day for review. It could be in the morning with coffee or in the evening before bed. Turning it into a habit means you'll stick with it longer without relying on willpower. So remember, spaced repetition is your secret weapon for long-term vocabulary growth. It's simple, effective, and backed by science. It turns short-term learning into lasting knowledge. Use an app, use flashcards, or use a notebook. The method works as long as you stay consistent. And over time, you'll notice a big change. Words you used to forget will come to mind instantly. That's when you'll realize how powerful this method really is. So grab your cards, open your app, and start today. Your future vocabulary will thank you. Now, let's talk about one of the most personal and effective tools for learning: the personal word bank. A personal word bank is like your very own dictionary, but it's designed just for you. Instead of collecting every word, you focus only on the ones that matter most in your daily life. Think of it as your private treasure chest of vocabulary, words that reflect your world and your story. Starting a word bank is simple. All you need is a notebook, a journal, or even a notes app on your phone. Every time you come across a new word, write it down. But don't stop there. Make it personal. Write a short definition in your own words. Add a translation if it helps. Then create your own examples. For example, instead of writing delicious ikis, tasty, you could write, "My mom's chicken curry is delicious." See the difference? The word is no longer just an entry in a book. It's part of your real life. That connection is powerful. It makes the word easier to remember because it carries emotional meaning. You can even add small drawings, doodles, or emojis if you're a visual learner. Anything that makes the word feel alive and connected to your memory will help it stick. Another tip is to organize your word bank by themes. Create sections like food, travel, work, or feelings. This way, when you want to talk about a topic, you have a ready-made list of useful words. It also makes review sessions easier and more focused. You'll know exactly which words to practice. The word bank also shows your progress. In the beginning, it may look small and almost empty, but after a few weeks, you'll flip through pages filled with words you actually know and can use. That feeling is incredibly motivating. It's visible proof that your vocabulary is growing, and it grows in a way that matters to you. Not random words, but words tied to your daily experiences. One powerful habit is to review your word bank every week. Set aside 10 or 15 minutes on the weekend to go through the words you've collected. Read them aloud, look at your sentences, and try to use the words again in new examples. This weekly review refreshes your memory and turns those words into part of your active vocabulary. Here's another idea. Challenge yourself to use one or two words from your bank in conversation each day. It could be during a chat with a friend, a text message, or even speaking to yourself out loud. The more you use the words, the faster they become natural and automatic. And don't worry if you make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the process. The goal is to keep using them. The word bank also allows creativity. Some learners decorate their notebooks with colors and stickers. Others keep everything digital with voice recordings and images. Choose whatever style motivates you. Remember, this is your word bank. It should feel fun, personal, and inspiring, not like school homework. Over time, your word bank becomes more than a learning tool. It becomes a record of your journey. When you look back after 6 months, you'll see not just words, but memories connected to them. You'll remember the story you wrote for embarrassed or the picture you drew for sunset. It's like building a personal map of your English growth, one word at a time. And that's the beauty of this method. It transforms vocabulary from something abstract into something alive. It gives you ownership of the language, turning words into part of your identity. So if you don't have a word bank yet, this is your sign to start one today. Grab a notebook or open your phone and begin with just one word. Add a sentence, add a memory. Make it yours. Then repeat tomorrow and the next day. Little by little, your collection will grow into a powerful resource. And the best part? It's yours alone. No textbook, no teacher, no exam. Just your journey in words. So let your word bank be your personal guide. Let it motivate you, inspire you, and remind you how far you've come. Because every word you add is a step closer to fluency, confidence, and true self-expression. Now that you have a personal word bank, the next step is crucial: using those words in real conversations. Many learners collect words like treasures, but never spend them, and unused words quickly fade away. It's like learning to swim by reading about water. You need to jump in to truly learn. The same is true for vocabulary. Words live when you speak them, not when they sit in a notebook. So start small. Take one new word from your bank and create a simple sentence. Say it out loud. For example, if you learned exhausted, try saying, I feel exhausted after work today. It doesn't have to be a big speech. Short, natural sentences are enough to activate the word. Repeating it aloud connects your mind, mouth, and memory, making the word part of your active vocabulary. You can also practice by talking to yourself. Describe your day, your feelings, or your surroundings. It may feel strange at first, but self talk is a powerful tool for practicing new words. Another great method is to record yourself. Speak for 1 or 2 minutes about any topic. Try to use 1 or 2 new words, then listen back. You'll hear your strengths and areas to improve. This not only boosts vocabulary, but also builds confidence and sharpens pronunciation. If you have a language partner, tutor, or friend, make it a game. Use your new words in conversation. The more you play with the words, the more natural they become. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because perfection never comes. Progress comes from practice, even with mistakes along the way. Mistakes are not failures. They are signs that you are learning, stretching, and growing. Each time you use a word incorrectly and get corrected, the word becomes clearer in your mind. That feedback loop makes learning faster than silent memorization ever could. So don't hide your words. Share them, even if you're unsure. That's how they become truly yours. Another tip, choose a word of the day from your bank. Make it your mission to use it. Slip it into conversations, write it in a text, or post it on social media. When you succeed, you'll feel proud, and the word will stick far longer in your memory. You can also combine words into short stories. Take 3 words from your bank and make a mini tale. For example, I was exhausted, but grateful for my delicious dinner. Short, simple, but effective. Storytelling helps connect words together, creating stronger memory links and deeper meaning. Another powerful strategy is shadowing. Listen to native speakers in videos or podcasts. Repeat their sentences, but replace 1 or 2 words with your new vocabulary. This keeps practice authentic while personalizing the language for your needs. And don't underestimate the value of casual practice. Chat apps, group calls, or online exchanges all work. The more opportunities you create to use words, the faster they move into your active vocabulary. Remember, fluency isn't built by knowing thousands of words passively. It's built by confidently using hundreds of words actively in real situations. Even one new word a day can transform your speaking over time. Imagine adding 365 active words in a year. That's a big leap in communication power. The key is consistency, not pressure. 1 word today, another tomorrow. Step by step, and celebrate small victories. Each time you successfully use a new word, give yourself credit. That sense of achievement motivates you to keep going and keep practicing. Think of it like planting seeds. Each word you speak is a seed that grows into confidence. The more you plant, the stronger your language garden becomes. So here's your challenge. Don't let your words stay silent on paper. Bring them to life with your voice. Use them in your daily talk, in your writing, even in your thoughts. Because every word spoken is a step closer to fluency and real communication. And over time, you'll look back and see how far those small steps have taken you. So speak your words, live your words, and let them carry you forward on your English journey. Now let's explore one of the most enjoyable ways to learn vocabulary, making it fun. Learning doesn't have to feel like homework. When you enjoy it, your brain learns faster and remembers longer. So how can you make vocabulary fun? Let's look at a few creative and playful methods. First, word games. Simple games like crosswords, Scrabble, or mobile apps like Wordscapes are great tools. They challenge you to find words, connect letters, and discover new expressions without pressure. Because it feels like a game, you forget you're studying. Yet your brain is still collecting new words. Another fun way is watching English shows, movies, or YouTube videos with subtitles. Here, you see the word, hear it spoken, and understand how it fits into real conversation. Entertainment becomes education. The more you enjoy the story, the more words stick naturally. Music is another powerful tool. Songs are full of repetition, rhythm, and emotion, all perfect for memory. Sing along, read the lyrics, and look up new words. Soon you'll remember them just by humming the tune. And because music is emotional, the words stay connected to feelings, making them harder to forget. Podcasts can also be fun. Just like this one, they give you stories, tips, and real conversations to enjoy. Pause when you hear a new word, write it down, and replay. It's simple and surprisingly effective. If you're passionate about something, sports, cooking, travel, or fashion, follow English content on that topic. When you're interested, you naturally want to understand more. That curiosity pulls vocabulary into your mind. It doesn't feel forced. Instead, it feels like exploring something you already love, just in a new language. Another playful technique is labeling objects in your home with English words. Put sticky notes on your fridge, mirror, or notebook. Each time you see them, you reinforce the word. This turns your environment into a classroom without effort. The words surround you daily. For visual learners, this method is especially powerful. Seeing words regularly builds automatic recall. You can also gamify your learning by setting small challenges for yourself. For example, today I will use 3 new words in a text message, or I will teach 1 new word to a friend. These small goals make learning active, fun, and rewarding. And speaking of teaching, that's another fun method. Share your new words with friends or family. Explain the meaning, create a funny sentence, or even draw a picture together. Teaching strengthens memory. Laughter helps too. If you make silly or exaggerated sentences with new words, you'll remember them better. For example, if you learn the word giant, you might say, I saw a giant cat eating pizza in the park. It's ridiculous, but that's the point. Humor makes the memory stick like glue. You can even turn vocabulary into a story game. Pick 5 random words and create a funny story. The crazier the story, the easier it is to remember each word. Creativity fuels recall. Another fun method is journaling, but with a twist. Write short, playful entries using your new words. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Just have fun experimenting and letting words flow freely. And of course, don't underestimate social interaction. Join language clubs or online communities. Playing games, chatting, or even sharing memes in English makes learning feel effortless. Because when you're enjoying yourself, you're not stressed about mistakes. You're just communicating. And that's when vocabulary grows naturally, almost without you noticing. So the secret is simple. Turn learning into play. Mix words with things you already enjoy. Movies, songs, games, conversations. All of these bring vocabulary to life. When words are connected to joy, curiosity, or laughter, they last much longer in memory. So don't limit yourself to textbooks. Explore the playful side of language. Because the more fun you have, the more motivated you'll stay and the further you'll go. And in the end, you'll realize that learning English wasn't just effective, it was also an adventure. We've covered a lot today, and I hope you feel inspired to grow your vocabulary step by step. Remember, small actions each day create big results over time. 1 word, 1 sentence, 1 habit. Don't rush the process. Learning is not a race. It's a journey filled with progress, not perfection. If you forget sometimes, that's okay. Forgetting is natural, and review will always bring words back. Focus on words that matter to you, words you'll use in daily life, at work, or with friends. And most of all, believe in yourself. Every fluent speaker once started with 0 words. You're on the path, and you're doing better than you think. Keep going with confidence. So thank you for joining me today. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep enjoying the process. because every word you master is one more step toward confidence, connection, and self expression.